We'll speak in a moment to a politics student at the University of Warwick. But first, Ryan Shorthouse, you're director of Bright Blue, a centre-right think tank, and you can see the logic in sticking with the dates.
Yes, I can, on balance. I understand the frustration of students, and I think it is the case that in-person lectures and seminars are better, but I think caution's needed on two grounds, really. The first is, a lot of the spike in cases that we saw in autumn, just before the second wave, were particularly concentrated in the 18 to 24 age group, to which obviously students are a large part. So the increase in the transmission of the virus, I think can be linked to that age group, to which obviously university students, form a large part. And the second, of course, is that students, the overwhelming majority, unless they're very vulnerable, have not been vaccinated. So I think caution is needed. And I would also say it is the case that almost half of students are eligible, have been eligible since the start of March for in-class teaching if they're doing practical and creative courses. So there is that possibility for the students who really need it.
If you're a doctor, trainee doctor, if you're painting and you need a canvas, all that stuff, you will be able to be present. Is that right?
Yes, and that's been the case since the start of March. What I would say as well is that, students who go into the university summer term, which is about to start, there are fewer lectures and seminars anyway. It's tending to go into the exam season. And I think universities could be more creative about what happens in this summer term. Maybe they can delay the exams a little and have some last-minute in-person teaching, lectures and seminars a little bit later in May before we go into the final exam season. So I'd like to see a bit more creativity from universities.
But May the 17th, on balance, Ryan, you would stick with?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
It's a difficult choice, but yes, I think
all right.
so.
Johnny Jenkins is listening to that. You wouldn't, Johnny, despite what Ryan has just said. And Johnny is a third-year politics student at the University of Warwick, although you're not at the university at the moment.
No, I'm at home in Essex and I've been here since December and paying a load of money for a room at university that I'm not allowed to go to.
So what's wrong with Ryan's argument, though, that you guys, with all respect to students, aren't vaccinated and have, I'm summarising here, but no idea of social distancing?
Well, that's not true, is it? Because I've been social distancing for the past year and lots of my friends have. I can go down to the pub, albeit outdoors, and I can sit shoulder to shoulder with people I don't live with, and that's deemed to be okay. But I can't put a mask on, go to an incredibly safe campus, sit 2 metres apart, and actually pay for the course I'm learning. So much is open now, Jeremy. I can go to the Ferris wheel at Southend Seafront. I can sit in there. But I can't go to my degree course.
Yeah, Ryan, that's the argument, isn't it? That Johnny can go and get a tattoo, but he can't go and sit in a Shakespeare class.
Yeah, I understand that there are these inconsistencies, but obviously we know from the evidence now that strangers mixing in indoor environments, which are enclosed and in kind of intimate groups, which seminars are a perfect example of that, are prime areas for the transmission of the virus. But what I would say is that, as I said, universities need to be creative about what happens in the summer term in terms of the ordering of lectures, seminars and exams. I'd also like vice-chancellors to be more proactive about fee reductions because, as I said, it is true that in-person teaching is much superior to online teaching. And therefore, I think vice-chancellors need to get on the front foot and be more proactive in the discounts that they offer to students this year.
Well, if they're doing that, they're very late about it. And Johnny, I don't know whether you agree with the idea that lecture theatres are a particular vector.
They're not. The lectures aren't on at the moment, but classroom experiences, you'll have all the windows open, you'll all be apart. So a 17-year-old can go to school or sixth form and they can sit now with masks on but close to people in big old bubbles. Yet you can't go an 18-year-old can't go to university, which is one of the safest places that I've been to over the past year.
Ryan, what about the other argument here, which is that Johnny and his friends aren't really at risk from COVID at all, and they've made a massive sacrifice to protect people who are over the age of 75, largely, and the sacrifice has got to end now?
They have made huge sacrifices, that's true. But, everybody has the potential to pass on the virus regardless of the personal risk to yourself. And that's the whole point about COVID. And that's why we've had the lockdowns, because it is super contagious. It's a very capricious virus as well. And as a result of that, people who are very young, healthy, fit do pass on the virus to people who are very vulnerable. And then you see the deaths, the terrible deaths that we've seen as a result of COVID. So it is right that we have lockdown measures. But the sacrifice from younger people, particularly university students, has been very great. I accept that. And that's why I think universities need to be more flexible with what they do in the summer term. Let's have in-person lectures and seminars a little bit later, the exams a little bit later, and let's offer some significant fee discounts to students.
Johnny, so at the moment it's May the 17th you go back, and then what? Do you think it's going to be normal, or do you think it's going to be masks and distancing and everything else?
It'll be masks, it'll be distancing, it'll be regular testing. It's important to say, Jeremy, that so many people, most of my university friends, didn't wait. They didn't wait for the government guidance because they spent so long dilly-dallying around and not setting a date. Most of them packed their bags, went to university a long time ago. Some got tested, some didn't. Surely it's better for everyone to get tested, everyone to go back and get on with teaching.
Thank you both so much. Johnny Jenkins, third-year politics student at the University of Warwick. Ryan Shorthouse, director of Bright Blue, a centre-right think tank.